So obviously we have a bio on our website telling everybody about Instant Loneliness and the show and what it's about and who directed it and the the names of the choreographers and dancers and musicians. But can you sum up in a sentence exactly what Instant Loneliness is?
No, I can't. No, I can try in a couple of sentences.
Sentences. Yeah,
Instant
that'll do.
loneliness is, yeah, it's for a very poetical musical journey about loneliness and trying to fit in, to come together, to find a connection. It's with a dancer, an actor, and the cello octet, and we investigated loneliness in all diversity, in being alone in a group, but also really being alone, and what it's about. If you can be happy in loneliness as well or not. So it's a big journey from really being alone to trying to come together.
What did you find as you were creating the theatrical production? What did you find Instant Loneliness then meant to you on like a personal scale? Yeah.
Well, I first kept it a bit outside, thought I can just make a show about it and not delve very deep into my personal life. But then we were halfway through, I think, and COVID appeared in our lives.
Yeah.
That was during our we started later on because of COVID. And then it suddenly hit me very hard that I had a very lonely periods in my life. So it became very personal. But it was actually quite good for the show, not to just make something about loneliness, but really delving into personal experiences and trying to connect from that pain or thoughts from that period, and raising awareness and trying to reach out with the show more because it's from own experience also.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. Yeah, and COVID obviously was a lonely time for a lot of people. So I'm sure when people watch the show, they'll get a real feeling of involvement and shared experience, which is obviously kind of which is what you want from the show. So could you tell me a little bit about your creative process? So how you first thought, I want to do this. I want to direct a show that looks like Instant Loneliness, or even beginning the trilogy that started Instant Loneliness, to the moment that you decided, right, we're ready to put this out and premiere it on stage in front of an audience.
First, maybe to come back a little bit more about the loneliness, I think COVID really helped in a strange way to get more understanding of loneliness, being alone or feeling lonely, and how different that can be. So I think in a weird way it helped to connect more together, and it's a bit easier maybe to have a reference to feeling alone as well. With the trilogy, we started in 2016. It started with Instant Happiness. It was about the consumption society, so it was really about our greediness and how it's affecting the other side of the world, but how it's affecting us as well. So about big systems and how we are also sort of victims of our own systems. Then we made Instant Love in 2018. It was about human trafficking, and how all parties maybe are victims as well, caught up in a web that they can't leave that easily. also going back to a little boy 8 years old that would never say, I want to become a human trafficker. So what happened in that life as well? So we always try to find all the perspectives surrounding a theme and not one. So we try not to moralize, but to raise questions and then talk with the audience about what is happening. And if you see all the perspectives, and we try to make people feel all the perspectives to start a bigger conversation about the theme. And yeah, we questioned what is actually behind all those systems of greediness, of human trafficking, exploiting people. And for us, that's really a big lonely void, and not to fill void. So that was how we came with on the theme. And the music of Kate Moore has a extremely deepening sadness, but also in a way it's also very healing. And we start first with the music, and then we try to create images on the floor, because we work a lot with musicians. We use classical music as the main storyteller, so we want to make it in the rehearsal space and not behind the desk. So we have the music and we have a theme, and then in the rehearsal space we look what is happening, and there we create the different images, and we get the music together and the text together to become a show.
Amazing. How did you come across Kate Moore? Like, was it because I did a little bit of research just on the dancers and obviously the composers of the music, and obviously her name came up. How did that process of like meeting her and saying, right, we've got a show and we want you to compose the music for it, you know, we've got an orchestra, a classical orchestra, how did that come about?
She already made some music for the cello octet, and I heard of her already also via different people and festivals. So I listened to her music, which I find very beautiful, and also what she did for the cello octet. And it's a mix of music she already wrote, so we could really listen to it and think, yeah, that's really perfect for the show. Great. And she made she composed new music, so that we have music for the 8 cellos, but also a solo, a trio, a quartet, a duo. Those are new and really written for the show, and we use music she already had written before and made a mix of it.
Oh, that's really nice.
It's quite a intense process, because we always ask writers as well, but also the composers, to give us the final say in how to mix and where to cut and what to leave out. But yeah, it went really well with her. It was really nice working with her.
Yeah, it's good that you had the option to obviously use music that you'd specifically connected with before, and then bring it to the stage and let the other musicians interpret it in the way that they wanted it to. That's really cool. That's really cool to hear. So I know that a large part of the show involves a lot of the musicians on top of beams. That's really cool. But what's the significance of this? Like, why did you decide to put the actors on beams rather than just having them on the floor most of the time, you know, in a kind of standard orchestra setting?
Because we don't like the standard, the standard way. But also we always ask our musicians to play by heart, to be a performer in the show. So we train them to be a performer and not only a musician, or not only a dancer or an actor. So everybody makes music if possible. Everybody plays a part, a real role. Right. So they walk around, they dance, etc. And I really like the idea of lifting them up to create all these little islands where everybody is on his, her, them own. For them, it's really hard that they are also not looking the same way, but looking all
That's
other
true.
ways. So they can only play on their ears as well. So they were also feeling very lonely during the rehearsals because they're used to watching each other to cue, and now they have to only listen. And in this show, some parts are so difficult. They play not everything by heart, but we found a solution for that as well. But most of it they play by heart. And I really liked it that we could play with the isolation and the lightness, the airiness, what's also very much connecting with the music of Kate, and have the opportunity to come down and have a sort of higher world, and also the street where you try to connect but can't see each other, or don't you walk just across but you don't see each other. So we have more levels by creating the different heights.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea. Obviously, like the little previews I watched for the show, and you know, it does differ quite dramatically from anything I've seen before. You know, we get a lot with Freedom Fest, lots of really different things, but seeing musicians on platforms, you know, I'm a musician myself, so I can't imagine playing on a high up beam, you know, on a little platform to an audience, and not even being able to face the rest of like the quartet or whatever. To, you know, obviously, like you said, to cue you. So it must have been such a challenge for the musicians to actually work out, you know, what was comfortable. So would you say that was you know, well, that was quite a challenge, like through the whole thing, or was that the biggest challenge, or was there other big challenges that you had to overcome?
No, I think that's the biggest one, to really feel isolated during the rehearsals as well.
Yeah.
And the chairs are really, really high. So it's quite scary, actually, because they're so high, they move.
Oh,
So
yeah.
every time you stand up, you feel this, and you have just a black void in front of you. So it's really scary. And they play cello, so they move. Chair moves the other side. So in the beginning, they got nauseous, etc. as well. So now that was definitely the biggest
Oh my
challenge.
God. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So what do you actually do in the show? Like what, explain your part then?
I'm the actress in the show, and I dance a bit as well. In
Mm-hmm.
other shows, I play the cello as well, but not in this one.
Oh, wow.
And looking for a connection. That's my part. I
Nice.
think everybody's part, but everybody in a different
Mm.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just finally, what do you want your audience to take from Instant Loneliness? What emotional experience do you want them to have?
To find a moment where you can, for an hour, go inside and go to your own loneliness in a place where it's safe, and that sadness can be there, but also that it's okay to talk about it or to cry about it, and to know that everybody has experienced loneliness in their own way. I think it's very important to talk more about it and to share more about it. Before the show, we work together with a social designer, and in the foyer, the hour before the show, we have several interactive installations where the audience can also already delve into the theme in very nice ways. So I would say come early to experience that as well, because it's really nice what she did with, well, I'm not going to explain too much, but with a
No.
lot of different materials. It's really, really beautiful and nice. So I think what I experienced when I talk to people after the show, it's a lot of emotions, also very beautiful ones, because the music is also very, very beautiful. But it's really nice to connect and to, even if you don't have words, just to know this, it can be there, this theme, we now have a moment to just be here, and it's okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody will feel that. It definitely feels like a very moving piece. And I really, really hope other people enjoy it. Like I said, sadly, I'm not going to be there, which I'm really sad about. But um, but I will see if I can get some sort of recording of it or something, or come and see you if you come back to the UK at any time soon. Are you looking forward to the festival?
Yeah, very much. So we're there with the show with Instant Loneliness, but we're also premiering with a new installation, Invisible City,
Mhm.
which will be in the city collecting stories of people themselves
Wow.
walking through the city. And we have the artistic interventions in the theater, and I'm a guest speaker at the symposium. So we're
Ah, nice.
fully into the festival,
Yeah,
and was there last year. That was really nice, and we will be
yeah,
there next year and the year after that probably. So it's really nice to sort of really
yeah.
into the city, and I really like the festival.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really great thing for the city, and it definitely brings it to life every year. And it's so exciting getting all these performers from different corners of the world coming over and actually like sharing their art with people that love art just as much, or people that don't really, aren't really passionate about art but just want to have a really good time. It's so nice to see people fill the city. But yeah, I hope you have the best of time, and I hope it goes well. I hope the show is an absolute success, which I'm sure it will be, as I've heard brilliant things about the other things that you've done at the festival. But thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.